Hey guys, Mike Siciliano here, and you are consuming another episode of Self-Boss Marketing Tips. So, today's episode, we are going to be talking about schema and schema implementation. This is very surface level on schema. This is for users that haven't heard of it before, or who have heard of it but haven't implemented it into their website themselves yet. So, schema is a critical component to your search engine optimization. It allows search engines to crawl a web page and understand the content that lives within that web page. So let's go ahead and kick this off. What is schema? I just gave you a little bit about it. All of the components that can be used to mark up your page with schema can be found at schema.org. Schema.org contains a universal vocabulary that major search engines agreed upon as a universal language to identify the content within a web page. So that means Google, Bing, Yahoo, all of the major search engines, they recognize schema and they all understand the vocabulary of schema. So schema is absolutely agnostic. It doesn't matter what search engine is reviewing the content. All of the search engines recognize schema and understand schema. Schema can be implemented in a few different ways. The two most popular are through json-ld or through microdata. So json-ld is a language that's written and implemented into the head of a web page, and it is independent of the content that lives within the web page. For different resources on how to write json-ld, just do a quick Google search. I'm sure there's some great tutorials out there on how to actually write it. Then there's microdata. Microdata is in line with the HTML of the web page. So it lives within the HTML that you've written, and it identifies different elements that already exist on the web page with that unique vocabulary that we just talked about, that schema.org references on their website. So if you want to see if your web page currently has schema, go ahead and right click. We did this in a previous episode. Right click on the web page, view page source, Control, Find, or Command F on a Mac. Go ahead and type in the word schema, and you will be brought to any sort of schema that has already been implemented into that web page. It's important to note that plugins such as Yoast on WordPress websites, they give you some surface level schema built into the page, such as brand, organization, logo, etc. They are identifying those components on your website with schema. Another example would be Shopify. Shopify gives you product schema built into their platform. So if you built your website in Shopify versus some of their comparable competitors, then you are a leg up. Now, if you do have the Yoast plugin installed on your WordPress website, or you are using Shopify, you can add additional schema. And this is where you get ahead, and this is where you need to know a little bit about development, or you need to hire a third party to come and help you. Haystackmarketing.com, we're very good with schema markup. It's how a lot of our SEO clients are ranking better than their competitors. So let's move on here. There's different types of schema. There's over 600 types of schema that you can implement into a web page to identify and make it easier for search engines to read the content within the web page. Some of the major types of schema, you can have a thing, a creative work, an event, etc. Within each of these items, there's sub-items. And within those sub-items, there's sometimes additional sub-items. And in a moment, you'll see why that is so beneficial to have and to implement as much schema as possible into your web page. Just to give you some examples of how powerful schema can be, let's say you have an upcoming event and your event is marked up with inline schema, or you use json-ld in the head tag of the page, you'll be able to tell major search engines what the title of the event is, when the event will be running, where users can purchase tickets, have a long form description, where the long form description of the event is on the web page. And by doing this, Google doesn't have to work as hard when it gets to the web page. It has all of the important information about that event outlined for it in a way that it knows how to read, which allows it to serve that content and deliver a better experience to its users, because that's all that major search engines care about. They care about delivering the best experience to their users. So if your website is doing everything in its power that's making it easier for major search engines to read the content and deliver it to their users, then you are so far ahead of the competition. Now, in the example of the event schema, this content, because it's a structured snippet, Google is able to take the information and serve it within the SERPs, within the search engine results pages, in a format that fits the UX of their platform. So you are essentially preparing your content to be served on Google in the best way possible. In the example that I just pulled up on the page, you can see there is an event, there's multiple dates, and all of those dates are clickable. That is not possible without some sort of structured data living on that website. And again, the search engine results pages are all about real estate. So you'll notice this listing has much more real estate than its competitors, making it tough to miss when a user is scrolling down that page on a mobile device or on their desktop. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the microdata, about the inline format for writing schema. At the top level, you have your item scope. Within your item scope, there are item types, and within the item types, there are item props. So your item scope, it's content that lives within the div. So you're identifying that the content within this div has to do with a particular topic. The item type is the type of item within it. So if you have an item scope and item type of creative work article, then you are able to have item props within the type, which are properties of the item. So your item type is article. Within that article, what does an article have? It has a headline, it has content, sometimes it has media that lives within it. So you'll be able to identify each one of these props in the HTML. Look at the example that I have up. In the example, you'll see that all of the content is wrapped with a div that has the item scope and the item type attached to it. Within there, you'll see each of the item props. And for this, I simply have the item prop title and the item prop description of the article. So now when Google scans this web page, they're able to know without any uncertainty that that is the title of the article, that is the description of the article. You can do the same thing with media. You can do the same thing with videos. And because schema.org has such a robust vocabulary, you can do this for multiple industries, and they have specific categories based on industry available through schema.org. So once you have all of your schema written, you can go ahead and navigate to the Google Structured Data Checker. Yes, Google provides you with a structured data checker. Just take the URL of the web page that you implemented this schema and paste it into the available field. Now Google will process the web page. It will identify each of the schema within the content, and conveniently enough, Google identifies the errors within your schema for you. So you can go ahead and make the necessary changes to get your page up and running and as optimized as possible for Google to crawl and deliver your structured data to its users. So that's it, guys. Short episode on structured data. Like I said, go ahead, inspect your website right now. See if you have some schema. If you have a Yoast plugin installed, if you're using Shopify, you probably have some surface level schema. But go to schema.org. Check out all of the available options. If you need help implementing more, please let me know. The more schema, the better. The more elements, the more components within a web page that you can identify to make it easier for major search engines to crawl your website and deliver the content to its users, the better. Not one of my SEO clients doesn't have schema implemented into their website. So this has been another episode of Self Boss Marketing Tips. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, share. And as always, contact haystackmarketing.com if you have any additional questions or you just want to talk marketing for a bit. I'm Mike Siciliano. Thanks, guys.